Life is full of changes and challenges that we often find difficult to handle. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when circumstances are beyond our control. But there's a piece of wisdom, a simple yet deeply powerful teaching, that can transform how we experience the world and navigate life's difficulties. Buddha's teachings, especially his thoughts on control and suffering, have impacted millions of lives, including my own. Today, I'm sharing a quote from Buddha that helped me shift my perspective on life, relationships, and how we deal with the world around us. This wisdom has guided me through some of my toughest moments, and I believe it can help you too. __. Quote, Buddha's wisdom on control and suffering. Buddha says, "What is under another's control is suffering. What is under your control is a blessing for your life. The one who expects the world to be fair to everyone will end up stressed. Escaping from the attachments of this world is a very difficult task." This quote highlights an essential principle of Buddhist philosophy: understanding what is within your control and letting go of what is not. Let's break down this profound wisdom step by step. __. 1. Understanding what is not under your control. Buddha's first message is clear. What is outside of your control leads to suffering. Think about this. How many times have you found yourself stressed about things like how people treat you, how others perceive you, or even what happens in the future? These things are completely beyond your control. For example, you can't control how others react to you. They might criticize you, or they might behave in ways that upset you. But how they react is not your responsibility. People's actions and words are their own. The Buddha reminds us not to dwell on what others do, as this leads to unnecessary pain and suffering. Here's a personal story. I once found myself in a situation where a close friend misunderstood something I said. They were upset, and no matter how much I tried to explain, I couldn't change their reaction. At first, I was frustrated and angry, thinking, why can't they just understand? But then, I remembered Buddha's words: what is under another's control is suffering. I stopped trying to control their feelings and focused on how I could manage my own emotions. In doing so, I felt a sense of peace that I had never felt before. Lesson: by accepting that some things, like others' reactions or future events, are out of our control, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. __. 2. Embrace what is under your control. Now, Buddha teaches that what is under your control is a blessing. So, what is in our control? Our thoughts, our responses, our mindset, and our actions. We have control over how we respond to life's challenges. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic, and your immediate reaction is anger. While you can't control the driver's behavior, you can control your response. Instead of getting angry, you can choose to stay calm, focus on your breath, and let go of that irritation. Buddha's teachings remind us to focus on our own thoughts. When we choose our thoughts wisely, we can influence our emotions and, ultimately, our actions. This is where real power lies, in our ability to respond with awareness and control, rather than being victims of our external circumstances. __. 3. The illusion of fairness. A path to stress. Buddha also talks about expecting fairness from the world. He says, the one who expects the world to be fair to everyone will end up stressed. This speaks to one of the most common causes of frustration and stress in modern life: the belief that the world should be fair to everyone. But if you think about it, life is not built on fairness, it is built on impermanence and change. We often try to make sense of life by wishing that things were more just. But Buddha's wisdom tells us that expecting fairness can actually lead to more suffering. If you fight against the natural flow of life, you will only exhaust yourself. Consider this. Many of us face challenges at work or in relationships, and we often feel that we've been treated unfairly. But trying to change the world's inherent unfairness only causes more stress. The solution? Accept that life is not fair, and stop expecting it to be. When we stop resisting life's inherent challenges, we can find peace. Lesson: expecting fairness leads to stress, and accepting life as it is, unpredictable and sometimes unfair, helps us find peace. 4. The power of detachment and letting go. Finally, Buddha speaks of escaping from attachments. He explains that attachment to things, people, or expectations is the source of suffering. The more we cling to things or people, the more we suffer when they change or when we lose them. For example, if you are overly attached to a specific outcome, such as getting a promotion or achieving a certain goal, you are setting yourself up for suffering. Why? Because what happens if you don't achieve that goal? You'll feel lost, disappointed, and maybe even hopeless. But if you detach from the outcome and focus on the journey instead, you'll find peace in the process itself, no matter the result. Buddha teaches that true freedom comes when we stop clinging to things. This doesn't mean not caring, it means living in the moment without undue attachment to the past or future. Blank, underscore, blank. Real life example. Let me share another story. A while back, I worked hard on a project, pouring hours of effort into it. I had high expectations and attached my self-worth to its success. When the project didn't succeed as expected, I felt devastated, but then I reflected on Buddha's teachings and realized that I was suffering because of my attachment to the outcome. I decided to shift my mindset and focus on what I had learned from the experience. This change of perspective brought me relief. Lesson: freedom comes when we let go of our attachment to specific outcomes and focus on the present moment. Blank, underscore, blank. Conclusion: Buddha's teachings are simple, yet they hold the key to a life of peace, resilience, and happiness. By understanding what is within our control, embracing the reality of life's unfairness, and detaching from unnecessary attachments, we can lead a life free from suffering. Life will continue to change, but how we respond is entirely within our control. Blank, underscore, blank. Final thought. Remember, change is inevitable, and the world will not always be fair. But by practicing detachment and focusing on what we can control, we can experience peace even amidst life's challenges. Apply these teachings in your own life and you will notice a transformation in how you approach difficulties, relationships, and personal growth. Call to action. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the Dharma Wisdom channel for more Buddhist teachings on mindfulness, personal growth, and overcoming life's challenges. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you deal with change and expectations in your life? Let's grow together. 5. Shifting the focus. Control your response, not the situation. Buddha's teachings are not just about accepting the world as it is. They are also about understanding the power of your own response. Our reactions to situations, especially difficult ones, are often the real source of suffering. The world will continue to change. People will continue to behave in unpredictable ways. And life will not always go as planned. But what is within your control is how you choose to respond to these circumstances. Example of managing your reactions. Let's consider a situation at work where you receive a harsh criticism from your boss. The natural instinct might be to feel upset, defensive, or angry, but Buddha teaches us that our reactions are within our control. The situation itself is not ideal, but how you respond can make all the difference. You can choose to react with calmness, listen to the feedback objectively, and grow from the experience. Or, you can allow your emotions to take control, leading to stress and resentment. In this scenario, the power lies not in controlling what your boss says, but in controlling how you internalize and respond to it. By choosing a mindful response, you maintain your peace and turn a potentially negative situation into a growth opportunity. Lesson: the true challenge is not external events, but how we handle them internally. Mastering your response is one of the greatest ways to reduce suffering in your life. Blank, underscore, blank. 6. The path to emotional freedom. Embracing acceptance. Another profound aspect of Buddha's teachings is acceptance. Acceptance is not passive, rather, it's an active acknowledgement that certain things are beyond our influence. The act of truly accepting situations as they are, whether they are good, bad, or neutral, allows us to move forward without clinging to hopes and expectations that only cause unnecessary pain. Real-life example of acceptance. Let me share an example from my own life. I had an expectation that my career would take off in a particular direction. For years, I worked towards that specific goal with all my energy and focus. However, after facing many setbacks, I realized that the path I had envisioned wasn't the one I was meant to follow. Instead of holding on to my expectation and feeling frustrated, I chose to accept that the outcome wasn't going to look like what I had imagined. This acceptance allowed me to pivot, reassess my goals, and open myself up to new opportunities that were even better than the original ones I had envisioned. The moment I accepted this new reality was the moment I found peace. I stopped resisting life's flow and began to align myself with it. Lesson: true peace comes when we stop resisting and accept things as they are. Acceptance is liberating and allows us to move forward with less emotional baggage. Blank, underscore, blank. 7. The importance of self-reflection. Learning from every experience. Buddha emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and learning from every experience. No matter how difficult or painful a situation may seem at the moment, there is always a lesson to be learned. This is where the power of perspective comes into play. Example of learning from failure. I remember a particular failure early in my life that taught me a valuable lesson. I had invested all my time and resources into a project that I believed would succeed. However, the outcome was far from what I had hoped for. Initially, I felt devastated and defeated. But I took a step back and asked myself, what can I learn from this failure? I realized that instead of focusing on the outcome, I needed to focus on the process. What went well and what didn't. What I could improve, and how I could apply these lessons in future endeavors. By shifting my focus from failure to learning, I was able to move forward more wisely and confidently. Lesson: every experience, whether success or failure, has something valuable to teach us. Reflecting on these lessons helps us grow, adapt, and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Blank, underscore, blank. 8. The freedom of letting go, detachment and inner peace. One of the most liberating aspects of Buddha's teachings is the concept of detachment. This doesn't mean that we should stop caring about people or things, rather, it means we should stop clinging to them in such a way that their absence causes us suffering. Detachment allows us to release expectations and embrace change without fear. Example of letting go. A personal example I'd like to share is about a close friendship I had. Over the years, we had grown apart, and I found it difficult to let go of the idea of how our relationship used to be. I kept holding on to the past, wanting things to return to how they were. But once I accepted that people change and relationships evolve, I learned to let go. Letting go didn't mean I stopped caring. It simply meant I stopped forcing the relationship to fit into an old mold that no longer served either of us. This detachment brought me inner peace because I no longer felt the tension of trying to hold on to something that was no longer aligned with my life's journey. Lesson: detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means accepting the natural flow of life without forcing things to be the way we want them to be. This leads to greater peace and freedom. Blank, underscore, blank. Conclusion: embracing life's flow with Buddha's teachings. Buddha's teachings are timeless, offering profound wisdom on how we can live a life free from suffering. By focusing on what we can control, accepting life's natural flow, letting go of attachments, and learning from every experience, we create a foundation for inner peace, resilience, and happiness. Life will always present challenges, but with Buddha's wisdom, we can approach these challenges with grace and mindfulness. Final thought: the key to living a peaceful life is not in controlling the world around us but in mastering how we respond to it. By embracing Buddha's teachings on control, fairness, attachment, and suffering, we are empowered to live life with greater peace and understanding. Blank, underscore, blank. Call to action: if this video resonated with you, please subscribe to the Dharma Wisdom channel for more insights on Buddhist wisdom, mindfulness, and personal growth. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you deal with change and expectations in your own life? Leave a comment below and let's continue to grow together.